In this video, we're going to see if Bard AI from Google can write us a cover letter for this job that I just randomly pulled off of Indeed. So I'm going to give it some instructions, and I'm going to then give it the job description, and we're going to see what it comes out with. We kind of know what ChatGPT can do with this, so I'm interested to see what Bard can do for us and if it will do this for us. So we're going to test this out real quick. What I'm going to tell this to do, I'm going to say, write me a cover letter for this job description that I want to apply for. And I'm going to keep it real simple. I'm just going to pass that in and just see what it outputs right off the bat and see what this does. So it's giving me this. I'm going to review it real quick. Cool, so this letter isn't super personable. It also just kind of made up all the information about, I have been working as a cloud architect for the past 5 years. I have these previous roles or whatever. And what I want to do is I want to act like I have, some background, and I want to provide that information to Bard and then have it rewrite the cover letter to reflect that just by me telling it to Bard. And so I want to see if it'll do that. And so my prompt would be like, hey, I want you to redesign this cover letter and include my technical consultant role with Microsoft for 2 years and my film editing degree from Full Sail University, and I want you to include my cloud architecture certificate from AWS in the context of this letter. And I want you to rewrite it to sound more personable and not so stiff. So we'll see what it does with that. I wanted to add the context of, this information that I provided it. Let's see. Okay. So, it kept the first bit the same, which I kind of see as a kind of a not where we wanted it to go. It did include that the degree and the stuff I said about AWS, Azure, and it said Google Cloud Platform. Now I want to just revise it and give it some information and say hey, I know this, but not that. And I think I'm not super into the structure of this. So what I'm going to say from here is I'm going to say, hey, can you just include that my last 5 years actually included 2 years at Microsoft and 4 years at Full Sail before that. So I'm going to see if it rewrites it to look like that, and then I'm going to ask it to rewrite it all with everything. Okay, so this is where I think I'm definitely seeing a little bit of failure. I think it's complicated right here. Is that it says it still retains that I've been working in the cloud computing industry for the past 5 years, even when that's not up to the information that I provided, right? So it did include the role at Microsoft, and that and what's interesting here, it says I worked as a cloud architect at Full Sail University for 4 years. The thing is, for that is, I think, what did I say up here? I should have said, or I did say, that I just got a film editing degree from Full Sail University. So this extrapolated that I somehow was working at Full Sail University, right? So that this is interesting that the language model is pushing this out. So what I'm going to tell it, I'm going to just describe to it that it's wrong and tell it why it's wrong. And I'm just going to kind of look over this as I describe it. and then this is going to be a kind of a helpful technique, I think, for most folks, just to read this and say what's wrong into the microphone. So I have not been working in the cloud computing industry for the past 5 years. My time at Full Sail was only educational for my bachelor's degree. I do not know Google Cloud Platform. I only know AWS and Azure. So can you change those details inside of the cover letter? And then can you rewrite the whole structure of this cover letter to make sense? And then can you say that the hiring manager's name is Joe and that my name is Bill, and add those details to the cover letter as well? So I really just expressed everything that I thought was wrong with the cover letter, and I'm going to see what the deal is. So it says, okay, here's a version of your cover letter that has been updated to reflect your actual experience. So it says, I've been working in cloud computing for the past 3 years. Interesting. That's almost right. 2 years at Microsoft. Great. And then it still says, I worked as a cloud architect intern at Full Sail University for 1 year, which is interesting detail that I didn't tell it, and it just sort of decided that I had done this even though I didn't do that. So I'm actually going to have to beat this detail out of Bard because it really, really, really wants to say that I did this. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to copy and paste this, and I'm going to say, I did not do this, and just see what it does. So hopefully it understands, okay, let's get rid of that. But what's funny is that it comes back and it actually just like gives you that again. So I'm going to say, remove this from the cover letter. And it's very explicit. Hey, to take this out of what you just gave me. So let's see what the deal is. Okay. Yep, so it took that out. But what it did not do is add any information about my education. So obviously I could put that in the resume, etc., and then that information could be reflected there. I do think that we had to fight to get to this level of detail with Bard. So overall, I'm actually kind of surprised that with the detail that I provided and the prompts and how explicit I was, that it didn't work out as well as I thought it would. It just added a bunch of details. It didn't ask any questions, and so I think that is where it definitely fell short of some of ChatGPT's performance I've seen on this. So I will hold that against Bard in this regard. With that being said, I hope this was helpful for you to learn how to work with Bard. I do think that the ability to use a microphone prompt is so valuable because it saves you so much time to where you don't have to type out so many things, and you can just like copy and paste real quick and then just verbalize, and that works pretty fast. So overall, I hope this is helpful to those of you who are trying to use Bard for different tasks. This kind of concept could apply to other research that you're doing or other types of things you're trying to get Bard to write. And, I hope this is helpful. If you hung out with me for this long, thanks a bunch, and I'll see you in another video.